So today I'd like to do some chest openers, really focusing on this solar plexus moving not only towards the head, but actually circling behind the head and down. And we'll link this into forward bends later on. So grab a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, then take a pillow from your bed, put into the pillow cover another pillow, so you have something that is almost like a bolster. Maybe it's not quite as firm, but it should work just as well. And then from there, we're going to sit in front, maybe 15 centimeters away from the actual bolster, the distance obviously between the bottom and the bolster. And then supporting yourself, we're just going to come down like so. And spend a moment just feeling the reaction of your body to this support. Now, if there's any problem with the neck at all, then please put a yoga block or brick or even a second cushion under the head. You should not have any neck pain at all. Lift ever so slightly the pelvis, do a small retroversion, so the pubic bone is coming towards the chin, and then with that extension that you're creating in the lower back, just bring the bottom down. Exhale. You can stretch your legs out, one after the other, toes pointing up to the ceiling. Suck the feet into the hips, feet active at all times. Separate the toes. Maybe push the base of the big toe away from you and suck towards you the base of the little toe. Clasp the fingers of your hands, and then on the next exhalation, thinking lower abdomen squeezing in towards the spine, but also feeling that solar plexus moving towards the head and beyond. Any kind of tightness, let it out in your next exhalation. Observe the throat. Keep it nice and wide. When you inhale, feel as if you're drinking in the air. Come back with the hands, change the clasp, and then once more on the next exhalation, bring the hands back behind the head. Remember that while the solar plexus is moving towards the head, that lower abdomen remains sucked in towards the spine. Come back with the hands. Just place them on the belly a moment. Bring the feet back down onto the floor, legs bent. And then bring the elbows into line with the shoulders. And then on the next exhalation, start to bring the forearms back behind onto the floor. So essentially you're creating 90 degrees between the lower and upper arms. Now, if that's difficult, then you'll just have to leave the hands and the forearms slightly off the floor. If you've got someone handy, you could ask them to place a yoga brick or something under your hands, under your forearms, so they can lean against something. Otherwise, what you can do is exploit the weight of the forearms and the weight of the hands. And with every passing exhalation, the weight can slowly but surely bring that part of the arm down towards the floor. Now this is tied up to shoulder extension, shoulder flexibility. And if you can't manage the forearms on the ground, don't worry. It comes with time and practice, obviously. So breathe into any tension you're feeling. It could be in the scapula, it could be in the clavicle area, the shoulder, upper arm. There are many places which might restrict this current movement. So breathe out of those tension spots. Let go from those tension spots. And then again, you can straighten your legs, toes separated, push the big toes away from you, the little toes towards you, but the overall foot is moving in the direction of your pelvis. Okay, and then you can just bring your hands back, interlace your fingers, lift your head, bring the hands under your head and place your head onto the hands. Your elbows are going to the side. And then on the next exhalation, really feeling that lower abdomen come in towards the spine. Exhale and start to open up your elbows, wanting to bring, if possible, the elbows right onto the floor. Now this is quite hard because your torso is on a height already. But if you can manage it, open the elbows in such a way that the elbows can start to touch the ground. Lower abdomen in, solar plexus moving up towards the head and beyond. And then on the next exhalation, bring your elbows towards one another and see if you can touch the elbows. So your head is heavy on the hands, on the bolster, and the elbows are trying to touch. And then exhale and bring the elbows again down to the floor, if possible, or wherever they'll go. Feel the breathing, the inhalation that's filling up this wonderful expanse of chest. And then you can close the elbows again. Okay, and then you can just simply bring the hands a moment onto the belly, then change the clasp of the hands, and then repeat. So head resting on top of the hands which are on the bolster, feet sucking in to the hips, and then on the next exhalation, widening the elbows as much as they're able. And feeling the expanse of torso that comes as a result of this widening. Feel also that the dorsal part of the spine is really having to enter into the chest, and that in turn pushes the chest upwards and then up again towards the head. Exhale, elbows coming together. And then exhalation, one more time. Elbows out, coming towards the floor. Any amount, however small or large. Breathe into this expanse. Breathe out from this expanse. And then exhale and close your elbows again. We're going to do the same thing lying down on the bolster, but this time it includes some movement, so that really kind of oils the joints of the shoulders a little bit. And you'll see also that the use of the bolster is none other than to maintain the neutrality to a certain extent of the torso. So I'm going to put myself exactly where I was before. So my bottom is about 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters away from the beginning of the bolster. And I'm completely lying down. My feet are on the ground. My hands are turned up towards the ceiling, or rather the palms of the hands. Now I can leave a gentle micro bend of the arms for now. When I move my arms back to get the movement going, I'm going to do an exhalation. I want to maintain a contact between my fingers and the ground. So if you have to lift your fingers up at any point, that is your maximum and you can't go past that. Or you can go past that, but then you make the action essentially redundant. There's no point, yeah? So the important thing is to be permanently in contact between the fingers and the floor. And we can do that 20 times, breathing out and then breathing in as we bring our hands back in line with our shoulders. So when you're ready, exhale 1, inhale, 2, inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6, lower abdomen in, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, keep the weight on the pelvis, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So it's really important to breathe out when your fingers come behind, not least of all to help whatever tension spots you're finding within the torso itself. So for example, for me, it's definitely the kind of chest area. And that exhalation relieves that tension. It mobilitizes a little bit more the internals of your torso. Now we're going to do this another 10 times, but this time we're going to try and maintain our arms straight. So to that end, be very, very aware of weighting down the pelvis. You don't want that becoming weightless. And that means also being very aware of what that lower abdomen is doing. So again, the same as before, when you bring your arms back, it's an exhalation. And with your arms coming back into line with your shoulders, it's an inhalation. So when you're ready, exhale 1, keeping your arms straight. 2, and you'll find you can't bring your hands back as much. 3, 4, 5, maybe you can. If you can, 6, it just means your shoulders are really nice and oiled. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you'll notice too, have a break now, you'll notice too that with your arms straight, you're really, really feeling a lot of work going into the tummy. And just one more time, the same thing. So really making the arms as straight as possible, breathing out as the arms go back, breathing in as the arms come forward again. So when you're ready, weighten down the pelvis 10 times. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Maybe the 10th time, hold it there as much as you can. Weighten down the pelvis. Keep that lower abdomen in. Feel how the bolster is supporting the solar plexus. And then you can just bring your hands back and put them on your tummy. Lift your head with your hands and then just press your hands down onto the floor so you can come up safely. So one more exercise to get really in touch with that solar plexus moving forward and beyond the head. Anahatasana with the pelvis indeed moving behind. So solar plexus forward, simultaneous movement of the pelvis going behind. By now you know the routine. If this is going well, you can look gently towards your hands. Feel the knees sucking into the pelvis. And then breathing in, you can come out. Sit in Vajrasana a moment. Fronts of the hands onto the thighs. Feel those 2 points of the pelvis, of the abdomen again. And enjoy the rest. I like having a bolster, but it really is up to you. So grab that bolster again. And the only thing I would say is watch the direction as well, because if you have any kind of support for your head, you tend to want to do this, going down and therefore closing the solar plexus when everything of what we've been doing today has been about opening it. So don't think of the head coming forward so much as the fact that the chest wants to move towards the bolster. Another thing to think of is it's very nice to have the elbows likewise supported, yeah? And then if you support the head or not, that's neither here nor there. But think of the chest moving towards the bolster and the feet again disappearing into the hips. So the legs and feet are going in that direction while the torso is moving in the opposite direction. So here again we have opposing and yet complementary movements going on. Now obviously the further down you go, the more, despite trying to open that solar plexus, the more the back is going to round. That's perfectly normal. You wouldn't want it any other way, believe you me. If you've got the right technique, this will not be a problem though. So breathe. Keep sucking those feet in towards the hips. And if this is really, really agonizing, then you do a micro bend with the legs, but the toes remain pointed up at all times towards the ceiling. And you just remain as high as you need to. This might be more than enough for some of you, and yet there's still a lot of really good work going on. So don't be in any rush about coming forward. Be in a great rush about getting the correct technique. And the more you enter into this technique, the more you start to feel the openings of the internal part of the body, the energy that's released. And then you can just come up and maybe support yourself as you come down and just relax for a minute in Supta Tadasana. Feeling the opening of the tummy here. This is kind of nice after the tummy's been squashed in Paschimottanasana. And then lift your head with your hands, come and sit up, and then just do Paschimottanasana one more time. So the legs moving back as the torso moves forward. Energize the feet. Toes always up towards the ceiling. Really feel inside the throat, inside the chest. We don't want to get tight. So try and drink the air in. And really release the exhalation. And then you can come up again. Support yourself as you come back. So I want to sit in Vajrasana with the heels together. If this is not a problem for you, then you can use a belt and wrap the belt around your ankles so that indeed the ankles remain together. Don't do this if you have problems with your feet though. Take all the time that's needed so that the feet can just relax in this Vajrasana. And then we're going to bring in the arms as before, keeping the torso nice and neutral, lower abdomen in, solar plexus, of which this lesson has been dedicated to, going up and beyond the head. Now I'm going to turn around because what I'm interested in now is the movement of the arms. And we're going to do Gomukhasanas, but in a fluid kind of manner. So we're going to start off with the left arm up and the right arm down, squeezing the thighs together and remembering the lower abdomen comes in and the solar plexus moving up. So that's the setup, which doesn't change no matter what you do. The other thing to bear in mind is that the scapula should be pushing forward to open up, as I already said, the solar plexus. So that will mean more or less there's an angle of 80 degrees between the top of your thighs and the front part of your torso, and that shouldn't be changing. And then what we're going to do is bend our arms and just bring our fingertips more or less towards one another. Then we're going to come out and change and do the other side. And we'll come out and go back to the first side. Come out, the second side. So again, like one of the exercises we did before, back to the first side, this is just asking us to do a bit of motion, which is great for oiling the joints a little bit. Second side, back to first side. And you can start to speed this up. First side, second side, first side, second side. And remember to keep on squeezing the thighs, first side, second side. As that kind of squeezing action allows you, first side, to give yourself the base. That's so necessary. And when you do this, you're going to find that one side is always a little bit trickier than the other side. So maybe you need to exhale more in the trickier side. Maybe you need to observe a little bit more where the blocks are and breathe directly from the spot that's giving you grief. And then once you've done both sides evenly, you can just return into a normal Vajrasana. So we'll do the same thing, this kind of fluid Gomukhasana movement, but we will do it with Vajrasana number 2, where you come into this type of forward bend. So even here in this forward bend, we still need to, like Paschimottanasana, like Uttanasana, think of that solar plexus moving forward, the chest moving forward, while the pelvis moves back. Now, for some of us, this is really difficult. For a lot of us, this is actually quite easy. I'm going to have my head supported. You might want this, you might want to be further down, or maybe you can easily reach the floor with your head. Regardless, when we do the Gomukhasana action, there's a tiny fraction of a hump on the scapular part of the backs. So you're going to find doing the Gomukhasana a little bit more challenging, okay? So put yourself where you're comfortable. Spend a moment feeling this Vajrasana number 2. Squeeze the thighs again together. Observe, particularly in the exhalation, that the pelvis moves back while the chest moves forward. Enjoy the duality of the movement. And then when you're ready, you can just start with your left arm moving forward, your right arm moving back, and then you can exhale, join the tips of the fingers together, bending your arms. Then you come out and do the other side. Back to the first side. Second side. First side. Second side. First side. Second side. First side. Second side. And one more time, both sides. And then just rest your hands and your arms, or at least your forearms, on the ground. And then breathing in. So in the final moments of today's session, we're going to recycle the bolster yet again. Put it under our knees. Feet, legs more or less in line with the hips. And from there, we're going to lie down in Supta Tadasana. If you've got time, you can do a proper Shavasana, the position of the corpse. Remember, your hands should be turned up towards the ceiling. With the support under the knees, you'll feel that those 2 points of the torso that I invariably, boringly talk about are nicely in line. And while you release on the ground in Shavasana, you don't collapse. So for some of us, we might need to watch that solar plexus even here. I have the tendency to collapse this part of my body even in Shavasana. It shouldn't. It needs to continue moving up towards the head and beyond. So breathe into these 2 points of the torso, breathe out of these 2 points. And really focus in on your body and the breathing. And the lack of disturbance in the mind.